Hola, my name is Tania Lopez. I'm a Latina mom and chef from the Bronx, New York.
Hola, and I'm her son, Miguel Xavier Diaz Lopez. I'm a mechanical engineer working with NASA and studying for a PhD at Johns Hopkins University.
We love to share stories about
Latinos getting shit done.
Welcome back to More Than Rice and Beans, a mother-son podcast about food, culture, relationships, and the Latinx community. I'm Tania Lopez, a Spanish chef and founder of Coqui the Chef, a New York City-based culinary business that teaches virtual and in-person cooking classes, ships authentic Spanish products, and teaches the importance of cultural foods, family traditions, music, and history.
And I'm her son, Miguel. I'm a PhD student in aerospace engineering at Johns Hopkins University. Our lives are very busy, but my mom and I always try to make time to connect over food, talk about culture and Latinx stories, swap ideas, and catch up on life. So, today we have a really exciting guest. This person's work has been featured on Netflix shows, they've been interviewed by publications like the New York Times, and mentioned by people like AOC. And the best part is that they are using their business to uplift their neighborhood and the Latinx community.
Okay, Miguel, can you tell us who it is?
So we are being joined this week by the co-founder and co-creator of Bronx Native, Amaurys Grullon. For those who don't know, Bronx Native is an apparel, art, and media brand based in, of course, the Bronx, and run by Amaurys and his sister, Rosalind. And we are so excited to talk with him today.
Welcome, Amaurys. By the way, for people who can't really say your name, can you tell them a really cool way they can remember your name?
Yes. First of all, I got to start the interview with, can I get a year?
Yeah.
You already know. Thanks for having me. This is a beautiful thing, a pleasure, and happy to start the interview. So my name is Amaurys Grullon. One thing that I do tell people, that can't really pronounce it is when you say I'm outie, like I'm outie, just add an S to that. So I'm Amaurys. You already know. So that's an easy way to remember. That's a dope way to pronounce it. So yes, I'm here. What's
cool.
up?
Amaurys.
Yes.
Amaurys. All right. So you are an entrepreneur just like me. So I've got to ask you this question. How did you get started and why clothing?
Yes. I am an entrepreneur, creative and social entrepreneur to be exact. A lot of my ventures and most of my ventures have a social component to them. That's why I like to say I am a social entrepreneur, right? So for me, it didn't start with clothing. I started with I had a creative agency and we were providing services like design, video, photo, branding, and all that good stuff. And then in 2015, we concocted the idea of Bronx Native. And Bronx Native essentially is a brand that was built for representation, right? We weren't seeing our voices elevated. We were not seeing our culture and history really showcased accordingly, right? And in one of the main fields that we found was clothing. I remember we were looking online, looking for merchandise that represented the Bronx, that had the culture, the history, that was visually appealing, and we couldn't find any of it. Part of being an entrepreneur is you got to be a problem solver. You got to pivot. You got to figure it out. So we said, we're going to solve this problem by creating merchandise, but this is not only going to be a clothing brand. This is going to be a platform. This is going to be a community-based brand that tackles issues that we go through on a day-to-day basis here in the Bronx. It's going to be a platform for expression, for inclusion, for elevation, for growth, and all these things. I like to say Bronx Native is more than just a brand. This is a movement in a layered ecosystem that has many elements. We have our studio where I'm at, Tag Up Studios. We have our flagship store. We have our nonprofit branch. We are tapped into many realms and all for the BX, all for our people and the borough.
All right. I got to say amen to that. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does your logo symbolize?
Yeah. So
Tell us
For
a little
me,
bit first about it because it's a building, right?
yes, yes. So our logo is a building. My background is in design and media. So
Mm.
I went to Bronx Community College, got my associate's degree in design. Then I went to the School of Visual Arts and got my bachelor's in design and film. My focus was in branding and creating visual language or how to tell a story. So when building Bronx Native, we really thought hard about what's going to be the visual language for this brand, right? We need to create something that is impactful, that tells a story, that engages. And we came up with the building, right? Something that everybody could relate to, something that is everywhere here in New York City. To be exact, our logo is actually a building that used to be standing in the Bronx during the 70s and 80s, but unfortunately it was burnt down during that era when all the fires were being done. We thought that the building was strong. The building represents for me a balance, paying homage and respect to where the Bronx came from towards that time, but bringing it to a modern age. For me, a lot of my designs, we take elements from the BX that we see on a day-to-day basis. We take the grittiness, the rawness of the BX, but we always also try to implement clean design and something that is direct and really showcases authentically what the Bronx is. So that's our logo, the building, Bronx Native, and you already know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I know I'm older than you. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I lived through the Bronx's burning phase.
Mhm.
And I remember going through myself a building that burned down that I had to go down the fire escape in order to escape the fire. It was in the hallway.
Yeah.
Very scary moment. And I still think about it and I get like jitters and everything. Did you hear stories about this or did you live through it at some point or
Yeah, so I was born in 1992.
okay.
So I wasn't here during the 70s and 80s. I was raised in the 90s. I was kind of like a teen during early 2000s. So I didn't experience that firsthand. But yes, growing up, I heard the stories of the Bronx. I heard Latinx stories, Black and Brown stories. I heard the upbringing and just the journey that our people had to go through, the struggle and all these things. But in the midst of all these things that were happening, we recreated the whole world, right? We created things like hip hop, salsa, doo-wop. And for me, that's a very powerful thing and something that is very empowering to me, that I think is the essence of Bronx Native and just the Bronx in general, right? Disenfranchised communities, Black and Brown communities coming together, right? Immigrants, people that maybe don't know the language, don't know this, but are work we work hard, we are survivors. There's a phrase that says only the strong survive, and that is a fact. So for me, hearing these stories, listening to hip hop, looking at videos, looking at documentaries, I said, we have something special here, man. The Bronx for me is an example for the world. This melting pot, this beautifulness, how we were able to, in the midst of all these things, elevate our voices and create a platform for us to express ourselves, right? That's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, it's true. I lived all my life in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, and my family says you can't get the girl out of the Bronx. But
Yeah, you can take the girl out of the Bronx, but you can take the Bronx out of the girl. Yeah,
there you go, there you go, there
yeah,
you go.
yeah,
So wherever I go, the Bronx is coming with me
yeah,
because
yeah.
for me, I think it opened a lot of doors for me, and I'm as passionate as you are. About the Bronx, and my heart is always there to help out and see it grow. And I'm very happy to see that the past 10 years it has changed a lot.
I know from hosting this podcast with my mom that working with your family can be rewarding and challenging, but also probably really annoying. So, what's been your experience running a business with your sister?
It's a beautiful thing. When you have people in your family that are like-minded, that are also creatives, that are also passionate about the same things you are, right? Because you get to work together, right? At certain times and engage. For me, and my sister is also a creative. She's a fashion design student currently at Parsons. about to complete her thesis and finish up there. And we grew up on Longwood, the South Bronx. And we were always creative, and we were always thinking of new ways to just express and make it happen. We started by first creating photo projects. We started creating video projects just by ourselves and like stuff like that. And then we started doing Bronx Native together. We co-founded the business together. And yeah, working with family, you already know how it is. You fight, you this, but the good thing about family is that even though you have fight, even though there's disagreements, you always come together in the end because you family and because we got a job to do. You know what I mean? There's no time to go back and forth and this and that. We got to make it happen. So yeah, my sister, we started it together. She has removed herself a little bit from the brand currently because she's in school right now, working on her own stuff. So I've kind of maintained just the day-to-day operations and everything that goes back and forth with Bronx Native. Ultimately is incredible to work with family. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing.
And have you guys always been close? I saw while I was looking some stuff online, I saw the sibling collective thing that you guys had on Instagram.
Yeah.
Those are some really nice pictures.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about, that the photo projects. Yeah, the sibling collection. That's something that started even before Bronx Native. And it was just us trying to just tell stories through photography. We're very passionate about different decades. We're very passionate about history, very passionate about different art movements. So we were capturing these concepts and representing them in our own way. And it was very fun, But yeah, we've always been close. She's basically my only sister.
And what challenges have you run into? Was your family very supportive?
Yeah, for me, my family comes from the Dominican Republic, very old school. They see what we're doing, but I feel like they don't quite understand the capacity or everything. But always, my family has been supportive. My mom has been supportive in our creative careers. It's not easy coming from being a first generation Dominican or being from an immigrant family and saying, hey, I want to draw, I want to be a creative, I want to design. And they're like, what are you doing? You either got to be a lawyer, a doctor, or any of these things. From a very early age, I knew I was going to be an artist. I knew I was going to be a creative. And I've always manifested that. And I always put that out there. And my mom was always there to support, to show love, and to be there for us. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Why do you think that people from New York feel such pride about their neighborhoods?
Yeah. New York, man, for me, I can't even imagine myself being from somewhere else or living somewhere else. This is a magical, energetic city. This is the grit, the hustle, the energy and the aesthetics that is New York City. It encapsulates all of that. People want to reclaim ownership from where they come from, right? And I think that's what we've always seen this in New York City. But I think overall, I think now more than ever, there's more pride in being Latinx and being from a certain culture, being from a certain community, because that's all we have, man. We have to lift each other up. I think New York City, the grit, that the hustle has made us be proud of our journey, be proud of all the struggles, be proud of where we come from, who we are. There's a certain confidence that comes from being from New York City. We've always built our own communities, our own worlds, and only the beginning. We're going up.
I definitely agree with you. I also agree that we have a different type of work ethic and also a different type of expecting people to work. So we want these to be done quickly, okay?
Yes.
And then if you give us a deadline, we're like, okay, we're gonna get it done in that deadline. I have hired people from that are not from New York, and they're like, oh, you have a deadline, but we really cannot meet that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
No, I always say you can't do things without deadlines because you don't even know when it has to be done or stuff. But that's a fact. Yeah. No, it's fast, the fast pace. And that's the only way I want it. I want it to be even faster.
Yes. I want it to be done yesterday.
Yeah. This time is money,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why do you think honoring each borough's unique culture is important?
Yeah, I think honoring all cultures are important, all communities, all perspectives, all ideas. My ideology in life in general is the art of being open and the art of just showing love and showing the amount of respect to everybody and anybody. Doesn't matter what community you come from, what culture, what color, what race, what age, anything. We need to bring ourselves up. And it comes back to what we were talking about and just honoring your fellow human, your fellow brother and
Mm-hmm.
sister, just the way you want to be represented, just the way you wanted to be shown respect and be uplifted. So I think Bronx Natives, one of our main things is to create an inclusive brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
That accepts everybody. When we do the open mics, when we do events, we want everybody to come in, all from all cultures, all communities, all boroughs, because that's what makes the world unique. You know what I mean? Having different cultures, different ideas, different communities, and merging those things, learning from other communities, learning from other cultures, from other boroughs. I think that's one of the most beautiful things on earth, right? We can give, and it's just like this ecosystem that I think is well represented in the Bronx and the history.
Actually, going off of the culture stuff, do you, when you think about your clothing line or how you're going to represent the Bronx community, do you think of Bronx as a culture within itself, or do you think of Bronx as an amalgamation of multiple cultures and you try to respect each one individually?
That was a good question. Good question. I do see the Bronx as a culture and is of its own, right? Because it's an amalgamation of all these cultures, and we always try. It is a little hard because you got to be on it, and there's a lot of cultures, a lot of
Mhm.
communities, and you got to make sure everyone is being represented accordingly. And even all of our spaces that we create, we make sure that it's an amalgamation of a lot of different things, because that's exactly what the Bronx is. It's made out of all these things. And as an artist and as a designer, I think that's also kind of my style, kind of like a collage style, a style that takes inspo from different elements, from different concepts, takes them and makes something new from it, that represents all those things and is a vibe, you know? So, yeah.
And so I know you touched on this briefly, but can you talk a bit more about some of the other projects that you're involved in through Bronx Native, some of your outreach, and maybe like how the pandemic has affected some of that too?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yes, so we had the pandemic definitely affected us heavily. We had a second store in Hunts Point called the Bronx Native Market that we unfortunately had to close. We were about to lose our flagship store in Mott Haven. Luckily, the community pulled through, and we were able to do a GoFundMe and do outreach and save the Bronx Native shop collectively. We have Tag Up Studios right here where I'm at, where it's our recording studio and our event space. We have a print shop where we print our merch and we print merch for the community as well. We have our nonprofit initiative, which is called Change the Narrative. We recently put out a documentary called Change the Narrative, and it showcases how we are changing the narrative currently. And one of the ways is by planting the seed in our youth, in our kids in the future. And so we can make sure that the Bronx is elevated and teach them that they can make it happen. They can do their thing and they could do it in the Bronx. We have a book coming out. You already know that's in the works. Is going to be a vibe. We have another documentary coming out. We actually filmed the whole process during the pandemic of us opening up the studio and our print shop. So we have a documentary that is going to showcase the actual journey, the hustle, what really goes into the life of an entrepreneur, the day to day, the struggle, and what we really go through. We have a bunch of things coming up, from community events to cultural events to physical things. We got merch coming out, of course. We got collabos, working with a bunch of different entities currently, but always trying to push the envelope, always trying to tap in, always working. You already know, because the job is just, this is just getting started, and we are only in the beginning because we're going to the moon, and it's gonna be a vibe. Yeah.
Wow, love it. All right. So you had some incredible exposure with celebrities, television shows, media outlets featuring your work. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And when what was the most surreal moment you've had when all this started?
Yeah, yeah. Um, the whole thing is surreal. You know, the whole journey is
I
surreal.
bet. I
The whole
bet.
journey is hard. The whole journey is beautiful. We were on the New York Times in 2017 for an article about the South Bronx.
Woohoo!
And yes, and I think that was one of the first things that I was like, damn, I mean, this is a vibe. You know what I mean? Like we recently started this brand. The feedback has been incredible. The engagement and the footwork was there. It's like, wow, you know, this is something that could really be elevated. We're gonna do this. We're gonna represent the Bronx. We're gonna inspire, empower. We're gonna go full in on this. You know, this is a vibe. People are saying that they need this, right? They need a platform like this. They need merchandise that represents. And we're gonna go all in to go full into Bronx Native. We decided to do three things. Number one, go to every single cultural event in the Bronx. You know, we had to tap in, we had to be everywhere. Number two, connect with every single creative entrepreneur or anybody in the Bronx that is a mover and shaker that is making it happen. So we literally was going down our Instagram, like, all right, who we meeting tomorrow? Let's have coffee, let's connect, let's talk. And number three, say yes to every single opportunity that was on brand, right? Even though we never did it before, even though we were scared, even though it was a risk, we were saying yes, 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 yes to all the opportunities. And those opportunities open more opportunities, more doors, more stuff, and really set the foundation and the stepping stone to where we are now.
So you're famous. I need your autograph. I went to your store and I forgot to get your autograph. Can you believe that?
No, you got it. Whatever you
I
need.
got your T-shirt though.
Yeah,
El
no,
Bronx.
that's what I'm talking about. El bro. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's really nice to see another entrepreneur as passionate as us. Basically, Coquita Chef started out with me and my kids. My kids wearing the mascot costume. First it was me, but then when they got old enough, they were wearing it. Yeah, and then I
Yeah,
decided to become a
awesome.
puppeteer, and then
Yeah,
all this other
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So I was on What Not to Wear television show.
So,
So it's I think that we have something. We really do. In the
yeah,
Bronx, people there's a lot. There's something there. We just have to cultivate it, nurture it, and grow. And say
that's
yes, like you
yes,
said.
yes, yes, yes.
Let's talk about your Latino experience. Have you found coming from a Latino background a challenge or an asset when building your brand?
Yes, so definitely an asset. Um, if you're building a brand, if you have a project, if you have something, whatever you do, sprinkle what makes you you in that, right? Because you're one of a kind, right? You're unique, and one of the things that make me unique is that I am Latinx, right? That I am first generation Dominican, that I'm from the Bronx, that I'm from the South Bronx. It's not always easy, you know, especially the systematic layered situation we have in this country. I grew up in a Section 8 apartment in Longwood. I know there's a bunch of people here in the Bronx that want to elevate, that want to grow, that want to mobility and want to move forward, but can't because of the things that have been instated in this country and a bunch of systematic things that I'm not going to get into at the
Yeah,
moment.
I definitely
Um,
understand.
that you know makes it a struggle for us to move up. We are a firm believer and we preach about ownership, preach about elevation, and tell everybody that no matter where you come from, no matter who you are, you can make it happen.
So I was pretty much the first in my, I guess, immediate family that graduated from college, and now I'm pursuing a PhD. And so I know that there's a lot of pride that can come from your family, but there's also a lot of pressure and a lot of a feeling that you want to kind of like prove something to them. So how was that for you creating this?
Yeah, yeah, no, we are here to abolish generational curses, abolish poverty, and abolish all these things that we have been taught that this is the way life is supposed to be. Me and my sister, we went to college and we were able to get a slightly better life because my mom came to the BX in the 80s. Yeah, I mean, I feel the pressure every day and I love it. I love it. I want all the smoke. I want all the pressure because without no pressure, there's no diamond, and we going up. We got to shine. So I'm here to not only make my family proud, to make my people here in the Bronx proud, to make my Dominicans proud, my Latinx proud, my all my communities, all my peeps, everybody. Make myself proud, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, going off of that too, the movie and the Broadway show In the Heights kind of put this really well about I forgot her name, but one of the characters who went to college, I think it was Stanford, but then she had an issue where she felt like pursuing that higher education, she was leaving behind
Yes.
her family roots and all that. And I've definitely felt that a lot too, and a lot of that like shame of like, oh, you're successful, so then you're not really Latino then if you're successful, which is like
And
that's so odd.
we have to take that out. You know, the fact that we can't see our people win and be in certain places without discrediting them or taking something from them, it's unbelievable to me. You know what I mean? And I tell this to everybody. First, we need to open is a mindset. We need to open up our minds and believe that we can make it happen, that our people could be up there. My mom used to say, you know, you were born in America, you could be the president of the United States, right? And I remember just being like, wow. I mean, I was like, I'm not going to be the president, of course, but I'm like, you know, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? We could be the president. We could be CEOs. We could be up there. We could make money. We believe in wealth. We believe in wealth distribution. We believe in financial literacy, ownership, all these things. You just got to unlock it first up here. You know what I mean? And be like, boom, we got this. And the haters going to hate always. You know what I mean? And they just stay behind. Let that fuel you.
Woo! Love it.
Yes.
Okay. Vamos a hablar de comida.
Comida.
Ooh, comida, yummy. What are some of your favorite places in the Bronx to get a nice meal? And what is your favorite family dish?
A couple of my favorite spots in the Bronx.
Sí.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna tell you right now. Definitely got to shout out Mott Haven. There's a couple spots over there. Choco Bar Cortez just opened up. You already know my boy Carlos and the Cortez family killing it. So definitely check out Choco Bar. I was there last night, actually, a vibe. You know, and a lot of the restaurants in our neighborhood here are awesome, right? Bistro, Cite, Hudson Smokehouse, Bricks and Hops, Monty's, Rosette Park, all of those. So shout out to all of them out there. Boom. One of my favorite Puerto Rican spots is Con Sofrito, which is Jimmy's spot. It's incredible. You know, I love what do I always get? The mofongo with the churrasco and shrimp. Hits. You already know. Let me see what else. I have a neighborhood chicken spot that I grew up in, and we actually hosted events there when we first started. So shout out Mama's Fried Chicken. You already know. I recently went to the Lechoneria,
Okay.
the Puerto Rican dude who does the St. Anne's with the pork. Incredible. You already know. Got to check that
Wow.
out. Let me see. Got a couple spots uptown. El Valle, you already know, gotta rep El Valle out there.
Oh my goodness, yes. El Valle.
You already
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Miguel says it's the best chicken in the whole world.
I think it's good. It's
Yeah,
good.
it's real. I came here in Baltimore and I wanted to get some like roast chicken, and it was like the most bland thing I've ever had in my life. It was terrible.
I think we're definitely spoiled with the chicken.
No. I love the food here, man. One of my favorite, just family. You know, definitely my Dominican roots. Tres golpes. You know, mango, queso frito,
Okay, what
salami.
is tres golpes? What's
Tres
that?
golpes. So tres golpes. I'm gonna tell you right now. So plátano, you already know, mashed up.
Uh-huh.
Tres golpes is salami, queso frito, eggs, and sometimes you can add some other stuff. You already know, some red onions,
Okay.
all that good stuff. But yeah, mango with tres golpes, that's a staple right there. Sancocho, ya tu sabes, bro.
Mm-hmm.
The best sancocho. I haven't had it in a minute, actually. I gotta go ask my mom to make some sancocho. And then the classic, you know, arroz. What is this podcast? It's more than rice and beans,
Yeah,
right?
more than rice and beans.
The rice, the bean, the chicken, with a little aguacate on the side,
uh,
and vibes all around. One thing about our cultures is that the food hits all the
mhm.
time. You know what I mean? We make it with love, we make it with soul, and it's something that brings us together, that represents family, community, and all these things. So I love it. I love to eat. I love food.
Miguel, you got to share your favorite dish. It's very similar to what he said.
What my favorite dish is pastelon.
Oh,
Right, but
pastelero,
what
that's
about the
it.
one that we make when there's not a lot going on and
Oh yeah, when our like I don't know if we should call it like our I don't know like our poor dish or something, but it's like
el plato de pobrecito.
yeah,
With,
it's just like rice with like fried egg, like sunny side up egg, and beans, and then
bro,
sometimes we would do it with like salchicha
right,
or
right.
like
Put the salchichas in there.
yeah.
Come on, bro. I love
But
that.
it was like it was
Yeah,
one of my favorite dishes, even though it's like so simple to
yeah, yeah.
make. I loved it because mixing the egg with the rice was so good.
Bro,
Mhm.
I'm here with you. I grew up on that, and you already know, man. That's
Yeah,
a staple right there. And I always talk to people about it, bro. With the egg, with the rice, the salchichas in there,
yeah,
it hits in a different level.
it is really good.
We can't forget the banana, the yellow
Yeah,
banana.
With the
and then a lot of
banana.
people always think that I'm crazy for eating banana with rice and beans, and I'm like, try it, like
Yeah,
try it
that's really
first.
good. That's really good, man. I'm here for that, man. And I'm hungry now, so it's good.
Okay.
So now to make you more hungry, and I wanted to ask, who is the best cook in your family, and how are you with cooking?
I don't cook. I don't cook. I leave that for the professionals. But definitely my mom. She's the best cook in my immediate fam. My aunts, they all cook. You know what I mean? All have their own style, their own vibe, and yeah, that's basically my mom, my aunts. You know, all that good stuff.
Nice. Well, before we go, where can people find you both in person at the store and online?
Yes. Check us out at the Bronx Native Shop, 127 Lincoln Avenue in the heart of the South Bronx, Boogie Boogie down Bronx in Mott Haven. We're open Wednesday through Sunday, 12 to 7 p.m. Check us out on all social media platforms at the Bronx Native. We're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, all the social media platforms. Tap in, definitely follow Tag Up Studios as well. And it's going to be a hot summer. It's going to be a vibe. So stay tuned. You already. Yeah.
Yeah, so is there anything exciting in particular that we should be on the lookout for?
On the lookout, we are going to start our event series. We're going outside now. It's getting warm, so it's gonna be very active right now outside. We're gonna be outside, so it's gonna be a vibe. So stay tuned for all the events, and the ones that we're gonna have outside is many. From open mics to events for vendors and like local entrepreneurs to recently I just had an event called Meet Your Neighbors, where we connected with all the entrepreneurs, all the business owners in the neighborhood. And it's just a space for us to set the tone, to work together, to share resources, net worth, and elevate, So we're going to come back with more events like that. And just stay tuned, It's going to be a vibe.
Awesome. I got to throw in a wepa here. Wepa! Thank you so much for being with us today. We can't wait to see more from Bronx Native, and we are so grateful for all the wonderful things you're doing to uplift the Bronx and the Latinx community.
So thanks for joining us this week on More Than Rice and Beans. We hope you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look at one of the hottest Bronx brands. To hear what else we have in store this season, make sure to subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen.
Please leave us a rating and review if you enjoyed this episode. It really helps more people find this podcast. For more Latinx experience, check out our episode Hey Gringo from season 1.
Which is, I guess, a white guy talking about Latinx experiences.
Yeah, this one it's really funny because it's his perspective of, when people call him gringo. or papi or stuff like that. He's like, what is this? Who's papi? Who's gringo?
It's my alternate personality.
Awesome.
If you are interested in learning how to cook traditional Spanish or Puerto Rican dishes, sign up for our virtual or in-person experience at coquithechef.com. That's COQUI, thechef.com, and browse the available experiences.
We'll see you here next time on More Than Rice and Beans. Did I say that correctly, Miguel?
Yes, you did fine.
All right. Okay, I'm
Dragon
gonna
Ball Z.
I need you to say, yeah, and whatever it is that you say your way. Adios.
Right now?
Whatever way you say adios.
Whatever way I say adios.
Ajá, goodbye. Porque
Okay,
lo
you want me to
vamos.
say it right now?
Sí, dale.
Yeah. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Much love. You already.
All right. Ciao, everyone.
See ya. Bye.